All right. This should be fun. We'll wait and see until she gets on here. All right, let's get Marina in here. What's going on, guys?
Yay.
How are you?
Ryan, how are you doing?
Good. It's nice to finally do this with you.
I know, I'm super excited and I
Me
love your
too.
question. So
Thank you.
nice.
Thank you. So, how's your day going so far?
It's good. It's super, super hot, like
Yeah.
85, I think, in San Diego. How's Florida?
Just as hot. A little
Yeah,
cloudy outside, breezy, but it's good. Very
I
good.
love it. I actually like it. I was like sweating like crazy my workout this morning. Super nice.
Right? And then you get to come into some AC, cool down a little bit.
Yeah, I've been doing this thing with cold showers lately. It's like a new thing. It's
It's
scary,
great,
but
actually. I've done it a little bit too. It's supposed to be better for your skin and for your hair as well. So, a lot of
it's for your
benefits in
immune
that.
system.
Yeah, very good. Sometimes
Yeah.
I do a light hot and then cold. It's kind of like, yeah.
You know what helps me is I breathe. So I literally go like cycle. So you get
Yeah.
out of your mind and then you're like, okay, I can do this.
Especially when it's really cold. What's going on,
Yeah.
Alyssa?
Hi, everybody there in the comments. Yay. Um,
Um, so yeah,
so
so let's get a little started. So today, I guess I'm going to be making some baba ganoush, which is an eggplant-based dip, kind of like a hummus, minus the chickpeas, but it's just as creamy and delicious. And I know
it's
that when I made it before, you had commented and you liked that a lot. So let's just get started. So I found some eggplants at my local farm here.
it was
Normally,
hard, right? But you
yeah, it
did
was.
it.
Normally, I would get bigger ones, but this is all that they had. So I'm gonna go with three. Normally, I would do two medium-sized eggplants. Um,
And if people can't find eggplant, I actually grew up eating this stuff, Middle Eastern in Israel. And if you can't find it, this is, I've never tried this, but I feel like zucchini would work too. What do you think, Ryan?
it wouldn't be too bad of an idea to try it.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna slice them in half like this.
Hmm. And what are your tips on cooking eggplant? Because I'm going to be honest, like every time, when I've made baba ganoush before, I just steam them.
Okay.
Um, yeah, what do you do?
So you could steam it. It's a little bit different, obviously.
Hmm.
Personally, for me, what I like is kind of to like roast it so that the bottom of this gets nice and like not pan fried, but just roasted, a little crust on it. And then I'm actually going to put some seasonings. Now, you don't really have to do this, but it kind of just gives it a little bit more oomph of flavor to the overall dish when you're roasting it. Sometimes when you cook in water, you lose all those nutrients and you kind of get rid of some of that flavor. So kind of helps fortify those flavors to stay within inside the eggplant. Um, I know that you don't like to use a lot of oil, so
Hmm.
instead of using oil when roasting, you can use a little bit of vegetable broth, which I've actually made here myself. All these scraps.
Nice. Tell us how you did
So,
that.
so
How
these
did
are
you make
just a lot of like the vegetables that I use daily. So what I'll do is I'll take any of those scraps and just put them into a bag right into my freezer, and then when I get a nice big bunch of them, I'll put it into a big pot on the stovetop filled with water. You can do salt or unsalted water. It's totally up to you and your preference. Usually I like to unsalt it and then add to the recipe as I go. Limits the salt intake. Um, but yeah, that's how I like to make vegetable broth, and it's a great way, especially during this time when products are going off the shelves like crazy, and you can't really get vegetable broth like you normally would.
Totally. I love the basket of your veggies. Oh, there was this kind of
Sorry,
toast.
somebody asked for the name. So that's Baba Ganoush. And
Here,
yeah,
I
I
can do
have
that
up
while
here
you're cooking.
too. You can see these are great. Squash, butternut squash, spaghetti squash, acorn squash. I love squash. It's great to have. Very shelf stable, so you can have it for a very long time and it not go bad on you. So it's just a good thing to have.
Ryan, you can also pin your comment so that everyone sees what you're making. So if you
Say
just
it
like,
again?
you can actually pin your comment. I don't think I can do it. I can
Let
try.
me click on it real quick. There
Let's
we
see if
go.
I. Oh, okay. Yeah.
For everybody
Perfect. So
asking.
that everyone knows what's happening.
There we go. There we go. Baba Ganoush did. So just to continue, I guess. So we got the eggplant sliced. I'm just going to move them onto here. So what I like to do is just take some of the vegetable broth. Just down a little bit.
I love this. I'm learning too because when it's steamed, it's not as good. Yes, Lebanese, exactly. It's such a nice, yeah, it's a Middle Eastern
So
dish.
I'll take some vegetable broth and I'll kind of just pour it down on all of them, just to kind of get them a little wet. This way, it kind of helps the seasoning stick.
Mm-hmm. That's brilliant for those who also don't want to use oil, but if you do use oil, you would use
Obviously,
like
make
olive
sure your hands
oil.
are washed before. So I'm just going to take some seasoning that I have here. It's just basic paprika, onion powder, garlic, pepper, and Himalayan salt. And since I'm doing about 4 to 6 slices of eggplant here, I'm just going to do a 1/4 teaspoon kind of for each one, just to make sure that that's as much seasoning I'm putting on each.
Mm-hmm.
So just lightly mix that up.
And just so you guys know, spices and seasonings are so good for you. Like, besides giving so much flavor to your food, they're so good for you because they're basically like vegetables and herbs that are dried up and ground. So it's like a win-win. My spice cabinet is ridiculous. I feel like Ryan, you would like totally approve, but most people are like, oh my god, if there's so many, and I love getting them from Vitacost also.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, love it. And
Yeah,
they're
definitely do a lot.
especially, you know, because they're already like mixed for you, and there's like the different country or you know the different ethnic cuisine flavors. So that's really nice.
Exactly, and there are different seasonings. So I used here was a regular paprika. You could use smoked paprika if you really wanted to kind of give a different smoked flavor to the dish overall. But that's basically all you do for the eggplant. Very minimal. You got the seasoning on it. So then what I do is I just take them, flip them over so that the flesh is down.
And you can use parchment paper, or you can use a silicone mat too,
So
right?
I'm using parchment paper just because it's my personal preference. You don't really have to. It honestly would maybe give a little bit more of a golden crust if you didn't. I just
You
like
can
to.
even do it just on the tray.
Yeah, I just like to because it just helps with the de-sticking, especially when you're not using any oil. So it just helps for that. And then I'm just going to put this into the oven, which I preheated here at 425 degrees. And that's going to roast slowly for about 20 minutes until the bottom is nice golden brown. So let me just pop over here. So once that's all done after roasting, you're going to get something that looks like this. So this is the 2 medium eggplant that has been pre-roasted with all the seasonings and everything that we had just done. And
then you scoop it out right out of like you discard the skin of it, right?
Right. So when you're scooping it out, you're going to scoop it right into a mesh strainer and vigorously with the spoon, kind of go like that, and you'll get all that extra water out. The more water that you get out of this, the better that it's going to be overall. Too much water inside is going to make it very runny, and it's not going to be as good dip-wise, flavor-wise. So make sure you get as much water out as you possibly can.
Love that. So for everyone just joining, Ryan is making baba ganoush, and he has roasted the eggplants and then made it kind of into like almost like a paste, just the eggplant part with a strainer, and then we're actually gonna move into making the dip itself. I want to be in your kitchen so badly.
So, and also just to kind of say a little fun tip. So with eggplant, 1 cup of this is actually just 20 calories, just 1 gram of protein. But 5 grams of carbs, 3 grams of fiber. It's really good for you. So we'll add in the 2 cups.
So all of those 4 little eggplants or 2 big ones?
Yeah, so 3 smaller, 2 medium, I would say for that, yeah.
Right.
So next, I like garlic. I'm very Italian in my family, so to me,
I was just
garlic.
going to ask you what your ethnicity is. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I'm Italian, Russian, Polish, and Yugoslavian.
Oh,
So kind of a little mix. Oh, really?
Yeah. I was born in Ukraine.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
So I added 2 teaspoons of garlic here. You can do 1 if you would like. I got 3/4 of a teaspoon of Himalayan salt. I personally love using Himalayan salt. It has about 84 essential minerals in it that some table salts don't have. So a lot of good stuff in Himalayan salt. And I keep it right on my counter in a nice jar. So I also get that from Vitacost as well. And cumin. Just a little bit of cumin goes a long way, so we're just going to add about 1/4 teaspoon. If you don't have cumin, you can opt for something like maybe a coriander, like a ground coriander, or even like a garam masala, or even a curry powder could work, kind of the same flavor components. So we're going to go ahead and add that.
And we can use fresh garlic too, right?
Always, yeah. It's always best to use fresh when you can. Obviously, if not, it's okay.
And that's really good for your immune system. So,
Tons of benefits.
So it's a perfect time to eat that garlic.
Yeah, actually, I don't know if you saw or not, but I did a roasted garlic recipe with some homemade bread. You kind of just smear it right on it, eat it. It's delicious, simple, and it's a good way to get garlic in your body during this time.
Yeah.
So next we're going to add here is just 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. Again, you can go for the store-bought, but this type of recipe, I personally think it really flourishes when you use fresh ingredients, so it's best to just keep it like that.
Yeah.
And then the main part is the tahini. Love it. It's ground sesame paste. It's delicious, very aromatic, nutty. A lot of different benefits too. One being a good fat and protein source. So we're going to go ahead and add that.
Love the calcium too. I drink this stuff. Like I put it on everything. It's so good. And what's your favorite brand? Because I have a favorite brand that I actually always buy on Vitacost because it's the cheapest there, and it is so good. I'm curious to hear yours.
So I'll show you. I actually just switched over to this brand, but I actually like it more. I can't remember the one I used previously. It was like Mykonos or something. But now I'm using the Eden, the Barefoot Thai organic. I always love to opt for organic when I can. I know that Alyssa, my friend, she uses a lot of tahini in all of her salads and dressings and stuff like that, and they look amazing. And she really got me on to tahini and really utilizing this within a lot of my recipes.
She's the one commenting, right?
She's oh my god, me too.
Personally, because that is very true. Shirley Bar is my favorite, my favorite brand. Have you tried it, Ryan?
I have not. No. Do they sell it?
Oh my god, it's the best. It's like a kind of blue label, and it's so good. It's Ethiopian, like super high quality tahini. I'm not sure it's organic actually, but other than that, I have so many brands. But I'll try this one at some point.
All right, I'll have to look that up too. Yeah, no, I get it from Vitacost. I have a code, for 12% off too, so it really helps. Obviously, and during this time especially. But any kind of discount helps, I think. So I'll probably link that also here, real quick, if people want to use.
Yeah, it's a raw tahini. Exactly. I love that one. I try as much as I can to buy nuts and seeds for the health benefits. So that's kind of how I discovered the Shirley Bar one, and it's so good. So definitely try it.
Yeah, and you could make your own if you really wanted to. It's just simple. It's ground sesame into a paste, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll pin that comment there. Yeah, so this is really good stuff.
Yeah, tahini is good for everything. It's good for all meals of the day too, and like desserts, like it's the best, pretty much butter replacement in my opinion.
Yeah. You know, that's actually another thing is you could even put it on toast in the morning.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so, okay, so I'm going to get this going. So we're going to pulse this until it's nice and smooth. Bring this over here.
We are making baba ghanoush, which is like an eggplant dip. So you don't do it for too long, right? Because you want it still chunky.
So I personally like it smooth. You could do it where it's chunky and you've got, you know, some nice little texture in there too. For some reason, when I had it smooth, it was just so creamy and cold because I had previously put it in the fridge, and it was just absolutely delicious.
Okay, I'll try that. I usually do this first, but I'll try that.
And I'll have to try it with the next batch that I make. I'll leave it a little chunky. I'll give you my little different opinion.
Yeah, let me know. So you serve it. How would you serve it? So that's it. You just
yeah. So this is it. It's very simple, honestly. After you roast the eggplant for that time, takes no time at all. And then before we videoed, I had some bread that I got from the farm also. So what I did was I took the bread, I sliced it, put it on some parchment paper as well, a little garlic, onion powder, salt, pepper, and olive oil. Again, you don't have to, kind of gives a little bit more of a crunch to it. So if you're not using the oil elsewhere, maybe you could put it there if you want, because not all oil is bad. It's good to have a little bit, but definitely not too much.
I like to toast it also, like just I have an air fryer and it has a toast function, so I'll just toast the bread. So good.
That's what I have there too in the corner.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Yeah.
So we'll come over here. So pretty simple, we just I'm just going to put it in here.
I'm just like running in my mind. Hey, Jen, so good to see you. I see you've joined. My friend Jen, who's a nurse for Dean Ornish, which is super cool. I am running in my mind like how I would increase the nutrition of it, even though it's super nutrient dense. Hi, Lisa. And I would maybe puff it with some hemp seeds so you get like little
that's a fantastic way. I was going to say hemp seeds all the way. It's a great way. And if you actually make your own tahini, you could do a half sesame and half hemp seed and kind of intertwine the two. So it would even be of a more high protein dish.
Yeah.
So that's another option as well.
Have you ever done that?
Just to kind of garnish this, I'm going to take some parsley.
Have you ever made your own tahini, the half hemp, half sesame?
Have I ever made what?
Your own tahini with the half hemp, half sesame?
No, I haven't, but I have made my own tahini before with just doing it with the sesame seeds.
Cool.
And it was unsalted. So you don't have to garnish it with parsley. I like to, just a little freshness. So just kind of take your herbs, kind of smush them all together, and then roll them up. It's just a little trick to kind of keep your herbs all together. I like to just maybe cut it in half here once, and then just go right through, rough chop.
I love watching you talk as I talk at it.
So that's that. So we'll go ahead and add some of this parsley to the top, like that. And this is another good way if you have smoked paprika to add that smoked flavor, but just a little bit on top, nothing too crazy. And also you could take a lemon. Oops.
Lisa, to make your own tahini, you just grind up the sesame seeds in your food processor, and you grind it for a really long time until it becomes a paste.
And then you can just go like this.
Oh, that is so beautiful. I hope you're taking a picture and posting it.
So that's that.
Delicious. And you can also use it for anything, like even a salad dressing, or like not even as just a dip, you know, or like dipping potatoes into it, or dipping anything.
Literally anything you could really think of. I'm gonna give a little taste test here too.
Lisa, I was mentioning that I try to do raw as much as possible, but you can do both sesame seeds and then grind them up. But you gotta grind them for a long time, right, Ryan? In your food process.
Yeah, you do. Definitely takes a while. Not something that's gonna happen very quickly, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, are there any other questions maybe that anybody would like to ask?
About the ghanoush.
Maybe about me and you, what we do.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. So you go first. Tell us what you do.
All right.
Besides making delicious recipes.
So my name is Ryan. I've been doing the Vegan Rhino here for about 2 years now. Been vegan for almost 3 years. Just upcoming in July 1st will be my 3-year veganversary. So that's pretty exciting. Let's see. Something that I'm doing right now. I'm writing a cookbook. So that's been something that I've been taking a lot of my time in doing. It's kind of hard, I guess, balancing giving free recipes here, but then also trying to come up with recipes that I want to seclude, but then give everybody, the chance to make it. So I thought this was actually a fun way to give a little sneak peek into a featured recipe that I will be doing in the cookbook that, everybody can be making here and stuff like that. A little bit about where I'm at. I live here in South Florida, as we talked about in the beginning a little bit. Came down here for college back in 2011, graduated in 2015, and kind of decided that I wanted to stay, work, and do all those fun things. And yeah, that's now where I'm at today.
Where did you move from?
I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh,
so
cool.
The 216.
I thought about this. Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yay, vegan fans. Someone commented. Baba ghanoush.
And what about you?
I am originally from Ukraine, like we talked about, and then I moved to Israel, and then I moved here, kind of back and forth between Israel and here. So I have that inspiration of the delicious, like Middle Eastern Arab food is so good. Mm-hmm. And I am a plant-based coach. And I'm also creating recipes, but mainly coaching people to transition to plant-based eating.
Wonderful.
And I have online courses, and I also do one-on-one coaching to just support that transition, because we all know that it's so tricky in the beginning, right?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and I've been plant-based for over 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Awesome. Any tips that you would say maybe to somebody that's just trying to go vegan, or maybe incorporate a plant-based meal within their week?
Thank you, Lisa. Yes. Well, first of all, it really helps to follow a meal plan. So if you download a meal plan, I've got them on my website, so you can definitely check that out on the raw. Following a meal plan from someone that you trust, and just experimenting, with that, and having fun. Just like Ryan was having so much fun in the kitchen, opening your mind to having fun in the kitchen and cooking is really, really important. I find that a lot of people are like terrified of the kitchen. Yeah. They really are. And I used to be also, so I can really relate. Like, I fell in love with the kitchen when I transitioned to plant-based. I didn't like it before. So the biggest thing, to be honest, like beyond knowing, okay, here's what I'm going to make and how I get my nutrients and what supplements I need, to like kind of learning that is the mindset part. It's the most important. So first of all, if you find yourself being like, oh my God, this is so hard, I can't do it, you know, you're walking around, you're like, I'll never be able to do this. Or you're like, I'm terrified of the kitchen, it gives me anxiety. Really
Hmm.
noticing those thoughts and working on them. And I teach my clients like so many different exercises, which are really fun, to work on your thoughts and to actually like not only cultivate awareness around what's going on up here,
Yeah,
because we have so many thoughts all day long and we don't even notice, but also how to accept them.
yeah,
Like accept instead of judge. Like judging yourself. Why can't I do it? Why can't I move past this? Really accepting that part of you, and then from there, being able to change your behavior instead of
yeah.
judging.
I agree with you
What
100%. So there's a question by Coffee and Creatine. So what made you both go vegan originally? Do you want to start?
Sure. I think I was actually just reading your bio really quickly on your website, and I feel like we have a kind of similar story. I went vegan for my health because my mom actually reversed a really horrible disease that she had for 8 years, and like nothing worked. It was in her bladder. It's called
Mhm.
interstitial cystitis, and she was able to reverse it with diet. So I initially went raw vegan for my health. I was a raw vegan for like 4 years, and then I started to discover more of like the science, the
Mhm.
evidence-based side of things,
Yeah.
and went whole food plant-based. And now it's yes for my health for sure, but then a lot for the environment. Yesterday I posted about that, like how amazing it is for the environment and the animals.
Mhm.
I really believe, and this is another mindset thing, that
Yeah.
if you have a reason like so much bigger than just your own health, it's so easy to stick to it. Like I used to really crave cheese and dairy really bad for like a really long time, and
Yeah,
then
cheese is the hardest, I think.
it is for so many people.
Hmm.
And then I learned about the dairy industry, and like it really opened my eyes, and I was like, okay, I don't even crave this
Yeah.
anymore. So that's my story. What's yours? You also started for health, right?
No, actually, I didn't. So growing up, since I was like 4 or 5 years old, I've always been fascinated with kitchen, culinary life, things of that nature. And to me, cooking has always been a passion of mine, and food as health or this and that. And it didn't hit me until obviously I was older in life that the food that we're eating and being told to consume and to eat isn't truly, food in the eyes of what like nature's food really is. I watched What the Health, as many people have, and it just completely opened my eyes up to a totally new world. I mean, I personally thought that I was being lied to, which a lot of the marketing and things are. But to me, it was more about living a more sustainable life and healthy lifestyle. I was watching, I haven't really watched it recently, but Alaska: The Last Frontier, and it's about the Kiltridge family that live on their homestead and have their own animals that they consume, but they live in a sustainable way. So before vegan, I was taking chickens and I was roasting them, and I would take the bones and whatever, and I saw that, and it was talking about how organic isn't organic, and I was thinking about these chickens that I was reusing and everything, and I'm like, what am I doing? This to me isn't sustainable. This is like essentially murder, or whatever you would like to call it. But it really just opened my eyes to taking sustainability, to becoming vegan, implementing health now into my life. And after the year, it even transitioned to being more about animal rights and things like that. It wasn't that I was focused on it or I didn't focus on it, but I think more so now it's my drive is to help the animals, help as many people as I can within living healthier, even if they're not being vegan or not. I think it's important to just understand the importance of food and what role it really plays in your health and your lifestyle and things like that. So that's kind
Yes,
of where I got that.
yeah. For sure, the animal rights side of things, it's interesting because it comes in kind of after. And I think it's because then you don't feel so judged because you're like, okay, I'm already doing it. Now I can like read about this part. Someone was
Hmm.
with comment. Thank you for sharing. Stick to
Oh,
your
glad.
That's awesome. I love What the Health. It's such a good documentary.
Have you
It's
seen any other ones for forks over knives or?
Yeah, food choices is actually one of my favorites, which I feel
Hmm.
like doesn't get enough credit because it covers all the things. Like it covers animal rights, it covers the environment, and then Cowspiracy really
Yeah.
opened my
The one
to
that
that.
really did it for me was Earthlings. I don't know
I
if you've
never
seen
watched
that. Okay, so that one to me
it.
took me two times to watch. The first time I watched it, I actually turned it off within the first, I think, 6 minutes of watching it. It was horrific.
Brutal.
But the second time I watched it, it was just a complete eye opener outside of just the pigs, chickens, cows mindset. It really goes into everything within cats and dogs and other animals that we don't really get to see or hear about within petting industries and stuff like that. So
Yeah, and there's now also Dominion, which I also haven't watched.
yeah, I haven't seen that one either.
It's really hard. Like
Yeah,
it's very well photographed. I know because my partner watched it. He loves
yeah.
torturing it. But the interesting thing actually reminded me that when we lived in Jerusalem, Gary Yourofsky, he's not so active anymore. He like back then, like 8 years ago, he was huge and he really turned Israel vegan because now Israel is one
Hmm.
of the vegan countries, actually the most vegan country in the world. And the reason is that he has like this video called The Best Speech Ever. Check it out if you want.
Hmm.
And he basically compares what is happening to the Holocaust, which I think really spoke to a lot of people who were Jewish in Israel. And so I don't watch the stuff. I just
Alyssa
forward it
just said here
along.
that he recently started posting more videos too.
I just noticed that. I
Yeah.
actually saw yesterday that he was posting.
And
Yeah,
just so
yeah.
everybody knows too, a couple days ago was Holocaust Remembrance Day for all of those as well that did fall during those terrible times.
Yeah,
So
yeah, true. Yeah.
yeah,
And so, like my partner's grandma was like a partisan in the Holocaust. So she actually like fought with communists, like she fought against the Nazis. She was like 16. She ran away, she hid, and then she fought against the Nazis. So, and then at the end, she ended up in a concentration camp, and then she
oh
survived.
wow,
So that kind of comparison that was made in his speech really touched a lot of people, and it definitely touched my partner because I didn't watch it, but I was like, oh, cool, I'll forward this to him.
yeah,
And I just remember I was like in the kitchen and he's watching this, and he's like, oh my god, I'm not eating meat ever again.
yeah.
And so he was like,
Funny you
big
say
meat.
that. When I went vegan 3 months in, I had ordered a burger, and I don't know why I did it, but I was just like, for some reason, I really wanted a burger. And so I ordered it. I kid you not, maybe 2 minutes after I ordered it and hung up that phone, I called them back and I was like, look, I have to cancel this order. I can't eat it. For some reason in my head, it was just like body, it was like flesh and meat and ground. It was just like, and that was when I knew that I was like, this is it, no more, nothing. And up until that point, I had been strict vegan, I hadn't done anything like that. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
definitely.
think it's a connection you make, and in your mind, like once you make the connection. But because we live in this world that is I mean, it's becoming more friendly to vegans
Hmm.
for sure, but it's kind of really not. Actually, another big suggestion that I have is to find a community. Most of my friends are vegan, which is so helpful because when we moved here, we kind of seek that out. Like we moved and we didn't know anyone, so it worked out.
Yeah, definitely a vegan buddy is helpful. So
Yeah,
there was
it
another
really.
question actually, Veggie Jessie. She goes, I haven't watched it, but my coworker recently went vegan because of Game Changers. Have y'all watched it? So to answer, I have seen Game Changers. I thought it was very informative as well. Kind of more in a different stance because it has to do with more sports and stuff like that and high performance. But
Yeah,
definitely very interesting. But a
yeah,
lot
and
of
I love
people go
that
vegan.
they talk about like the protein aspect, which is
Hmm.
really big myth and like big fear for a lot of people. Like, how am I
Right.
going to get protein? So
Huge
that's
in the
really
fitness industry more so. I think that they really stigmatize that protein definition,
yeah.
making everybody feel like they're not getting enough or they need to get more or stuff
Yeah,
like
and
that.
then on the health side of things, also there's on YouTube Dr. Greger's speeches, which are amazing. So definitely watch Dr. Michael Greger on YouTube. He has a few speeches about the health side of it. So
Hmm.
what's really cool is that it's all all the angles are covered when you eat this way. The health, the environmental.
Everything, yeah. And like how
Yeah.
somebody said here, you're vegan, both your skins look good and so young. That's
Thank
definitely being vegan. I mean, nothing gets better than that, you know?
for
When you
sure.
eat, I feel like you're just consuming a whole bunch of, I don't want to say crap, but it is, you know? I can't remember what the distinguishing was, but it is, and your body feels it, your skin feels it, and it comes out of your skin. I mean, it's bad. So why not give yourself good food, let your body enjoy it, really break it down, totally use it, and yeah.
Yeah, and when you cook it, it's just so beautiful. Like I think that's why I fell in love with cooking, where I was totally fearful before, because it's so beautiful. It's so fresh. Like
Hmm.
it just fills my heart. Like even
Yeah,
when I get, an order of veggies or something, or when I'm grocery shopping, it's just like, oh, it's
it
the
is,
best.
and there's nothing better about having fresh. So just to kind of go through here too, I have my lemons, some avocados, ginger, some turmeric. But also, I just bought this at the farm the other day. Same with the parsley and mint. But if you can see here, I'm regrowing my my onion, my green onions. This is
Oh, that's
fully regrown. I had cut it here at the bottom, so this is all fresh, regrown. So just kind of
I
other
love.
staple ideas to do within your kitchen to save some money, during these times.
I
Anything
think
really
we
helps.
should do another video of like these tips that we both have,
Oh
because I
yeah.
feel like you have so many of the cooking and like the shopping and all that tips, and
Hmm.
I have a lot of tips on the mindset part. So we
No,
should
I'd love to.
definitely.
I think that we definitely could do more of these. I think people are definitely enjoying it, asking good questions and stuff like that. So, yeah,
It's
definitely will.
been awesome,
So just
Ryan.
before we go, though, I did finish these eggplants that we did. They're not done
Oh,
completely, but I just want to show you how they look. This is the skin, and then you would just kind of go like this and just peel the skin off like that once they're
before
more
you put
done, or
it
you
in
could
the
scoop it
container.
out. Yeah, so that's that.
There's a request to show your garden, and I am on that. So please, can
Throw me on the spot, Alyssa.
you? So cool that you know Alyssa like in person, because I always like correspond with her in messages.
Oh, really? Yeah, no, we used to work together. We used to go on many, many walks outside during our breaks.
That's
She
so nice.
unfortunately moved far, far away, but she has an amazing garden. She's going to have to show you a live video of her
Oh,
garden. I'm going to put her on the spot. Yeah. So,
I want
all right, just to start, I don't know what this is exactly, but
to.
about, I'd say, a year ago, a squirrel came from this palm tree and dug a acorn in, and it shot up. So I'm assuming it's an acorn tree or
That's
oak tree,
awesome.
whatever. And then my aloe kind
That's
of
really good.
repotted. It's going a little crazy, but it's great for your skin. It's great to consume in some water. A lot of people right now are making hand sanitizer from it. Um, I'm not, but you definitely could. I got my moringa tree. I got this at I want to say Veg Fest, but I don't think it was a Veg Fest. I think it was Vegan Block Party down in Miami, and they had like a garden station where you can go and plant moringa. So they gave us moringa seeds. So I got that.
It's
Here
so
I'm
cool. Lisa,
growing some yellow pear
that
tomato.
animals planting our gardens. It's so cute. I love it.
So just some tomatoes, some yellow pear tomatoes. The plant was kind of growing crazy and I wanted to regrow it. So I took trimmings from the original plant, put them in water. I let the roots regrow, and then now it's going to regrow. And I got
Yeah,
my
Alyssa, I
eggplant.
was gonna say that too, that he's doing that on his balcony. Like I actually expected like a first floor garden. So it really
No, no,
anyone.
this is all on my balcony. So it's up here on the third floor. So it's really remote, but you got to do what you got. So I got
Yeah,
eggplant. I got my red and orange and yellow bell peppers, Scotch bonnet, pepper plants. I got some
are
ghost
those
peppers here
spicy?
growing. Which ones?
The Scotch bonnet.
Yeah, they got some kick. The thing with them is you don't really cook with them. I think that they're more to elevate your sauces, so it's really good for that. I've got a pineapple plant that I actually sliced the top of a pineapple off and regrew it. It had 2, and now it's kind of grown into 4. So that's going to grow 4 pineapples. Yeah. Got some hot Apache peppers. So as you can see, we got some here that's going red, but they start out green like that, and then they kind of turn a brownish color before they go red. I just planted some sweet potatoes, so kind of letting those take off.
Can you eat those
got
greens?
Some broccoli. The potato leaves?
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking, if you could eat these?
Yeah.
I'm sure you could. I don't think I would. I don't know. That's a question for Alyssa.
Yeah, I'm curious.
And then some broccoli. I planted too much, so they all kind of sprouted. But I think this is actually a little baby broccoli growing in or something. And just leaves from my lettuce. My roommate cut the lettuce at the root, so I just kind of regrew it, and they shot up. So what's happening up here is that they flower. So you can cut it to let this kind of grow and give all the life to the bottom of the plant. Or if you let it just kind of grow here, you can get seeds once these flowers dehydrate and they get all dry. And then you kind of pluck the seeds out. And then I got some herbs, some other bell peppers, some ginger, more ginger. I'm doing some strawberries. I cut the skin off of a strawberry, and then just some other herbs and stuff like that.
Oh, Alyssa is saying not to eat the potato leaves.
Yeah, I wouldn't eat the leaves.
I wish we could invite her to our live, but we can't do 3 people. That is so cool. I'm not gonna lie, super scared to grow stuff. I feel like I have a black thumb, but you're inspiring me. You did?
It didn't work. Yeah, it didn't work for me for the longest times, and I just kind of kept doing it, and then
what you gotta do.
Now I'm flourishing.
That's so cool. Yeah, it looks really healthy and green and beautiful.
It's nice. And you kind of get to go out there a little bit, get your hands dirty into the earth, and
that's super cool. Amazing, Ryan. This was so fun.
This was fun. I'm glad that you participated with me, and I'm glad that it's fun.
I will do it again for sure.
Yeah, we will, definitely. Thank you guys for all joining in. This was so much fun having you here, Marina, and we'll definitely do this again.
Sure.
All right, bye, guys.